In the past 10 or so years, there have been a lot of great technological feats, and now that we're moving into kind of a digital age, where do you see that playing a factor in the theater? Do you see it helping or even hindering the work that we do as artists?
The way technology has enabled design to do new stuff, it's just absolutely amazing. You go to any of these small off-Broadway theaters, little storefront theaters, and the design of these productions is fantastic. We're like in a golden age of American theater design. It's terrific. I've gone to, for the magazine, I've traveled around the world a lot. You go to the major houses in, Moscow or Warsaw or Istanbul, the major theater houses, and the tech can be creative, it can be poetic and so forth, but it's nowhere near the beautiful quality that you can see in the technical work of some little storefront on a little theater off Broadway. The new developments in sound design, in computer-generated lighting, it's great. And I'm a huge fan of multimedia work too. So I like all that technical stuff, and I have enormous admiration for the people who work with it, and think it's really a wave of the future. I think it's really important in the theater.
In certain works where the language requires, a great deal of acting as well, do you think the visual challenges the actors?
It just has to be used well. That's all. Sure, you can over-design a show so that all the bells and whistles are going off all the time, and the poor actors left in the lurch. You have to remember, even as we use all this technology in the theater, it's basically an extremely old-fashioned art that has to be based really on the fact that, of the actor's body, and all you need is, 2 or 3 people. You got somebody performing and somebody watching. That's what the basic is. That's why the theater will never disappear as long as grandma's reading a story to her grandkids. There'll be theater, because that's what it is. And you can use the technology in wonderful ways to elaborate on it, but you can't lose the basic fact of what it is. That it's a performer and giving and an audience receiving, and that basic interchange. So if the technology screws that up, then you're in trouble. Our theater is a writer's theater, and it's going to, stand or fall on on the backs of playwrights. I think. I think it's still true. I think it's still true.
Because we went through a patch there where directors seemed awful important.
Yeah, but they're not really. I guess I'm giving out mixed messages too, praising the wonderful technology of design and how great visually our theater can be, and then saying that it's basically a writer's theater. But it is, and it really always has been. Unlike say Eastern Europe, where the rebellion came by doing Shakespeare and making it a metaphor for the repressive government and so forth. This was a director's job, and in America we've the basic artist of the theater is still the playwright. When you've had directors like Peter Sellers or Joanne Akalaitis, other show-offy directors who really want to create the meaning of the work in the mise en scène, these directors don't succeed in a big way in America. Peter Sellers is Robert Wilson, works in Europe. He's famous and well known here and revered in certain circles, but this is not. This is people call it European style theater, and that's because they dig that stuff over there in ways that they don't here, and we're still basically a writer's theater, and we've got a tremendous new generation writers, you know, along with Susan Laurie and people like that, and a hugely effective, if often criticized, system of new play development. They don't even know what that is in, you know, in most of Europe. You write a play in Europe, playwriting is a solitary activity. You write the play, and there it is. It's a play, and a director or a theater takes it like they would buy a steak and cook it. You know, the playwright goes to the theater and sees it like everybody else, and can be totally surprised by what he sees because he's not part of the production process. Here in America, the whole play development system, you know, makes the playwright at the center, and the playwright's intent, the director is an interpreter of the playwright's intentions, and that's basically what, you know, but it differs, you know, to this degree or that degree. You have an outstanding director, a director who really wants to implant his vision on a piece, and we have, you know, the new Death of a Salesman with, you know, with this focus on it or that focus on, with a director's eye or a director's interpretation, but it's still basically the playwright's play.